So what do we learn this week about Grixis Unearth in Modern? So we played a league, we finished 3-2, which, I mean, that's not a horrible finish for being in a league. Overall, the deck is really sweet. It is really, really cool. When nothing goes wrong, we win in a super unique way, being able to get back all of our stuff from the graveyard, have this weird combo finish. The problem we ran into with the deck is it pretty much just feels like slow dredge. Like, we lose to all the same things that dredge loses to, except we don't just win on turn 2 or turn 3 sometimes because we get back like 15 power or something ridiculous with prized amalgams and whatnot. So it felt like we were just kind of a slower version of Dredge. The upside is we're also a cooler version of Dredge. Getting back prized amalgams, dredging random stuff, definitely not as cool as getting back 4 extractor demons in the same turn or anything like that. I guess maybe there's some argument that we can hardcast extractor demons in Street Race and Horror of the Broken Lands to be better than Dredge if our graveyard gets shut down. But for the most part, it felt like we were able to be beat by the same things that the tier version of Dredge gets beat by, except we are also not winning as quickly as Dredge. So I think the deck is really, really cool, and obviously we went 3-2. Our matchups were incredibly swingy. It felt like we either blew out our opponent and they didn't really have a way of interacting with us, or we stumbled on our draws. Our mana's pretty crazy. We had trouble getting things set up. Our opponent played Graveyard Hate, and we just absolutely lost, and it wasn't even close. So there weren't many close matches with the deck. There was a couple where it was kind of a damage race, but for the most part, one side or the other was getting blown out. Either we were blowing our opponent out, or they were blowing us out. So, I don't know. I feel like the deck is really fun, and it's obviously competitive enough that you can win with it. Occasionally, just Gnaw to the Bone wins a game all on its own. We can, like, hardcast our Spectres, although getting our one red source was more challenging than you thought. We had a lot of Spectres rotting in our hand when we wanted to hardcast them. So I feel like it's fun, it's competitive enough that you can take it to an F&M and expect to win some games with it. But if your goal is to win a GP or something along those lines, I'm pretty sure you just play Dredge if this is a style of deck you want to play. It's really hard for me to come up with a strong argument of how this is better if the goal is winning a GP than just playing Dredge proper. So I think it's fun. I had a lot of fun playing it, and I was super stoked to see that we kind of got the 4 Extractor Demon kill eventually. We had some surprise kills where we were able to look like we were losing and then suddenly like get back multiple things from the graveyard. We won with Fate Stitcher damage for Xaxes at one point. So some cool things happened, and it was competitive enough, but I don't know. I guess that's my overall feelings on the deck. It's fun, the mana is super clunky, it scoops super hard to Graveyard Hate, loses to the same stuff Dredge loses to, is a couple of turns probably slower than Dredge, but it's still competitive enough that I think you can take it and play with it at a GP level. As far as changes I would make to the deck, I don't know if you can change much. This kind of is what it is, I think. Maybe there's a way of improving the sideboard, which is very susceptible to fast combo. We don't have Thought Seizes, we don't have counter spells. Fast combo doesn't especially care about Gnaw to the Bone, so we're going to lose very often to decks like Storm, to decks like Scapeshift, that are just going to be able to race us to the combo finish. Like, we have a combo finish too, but it requires a lot of setup, especially if we don't just have Crab, like double fetch land over the first few turns to really fill our graveyard. So I think that maybe the sideboard could be geared more towards fighting against unfair decks, because right now our sideboard is almost 100% built around being able to protect our combo and use our combo. Nature's Claim to get rid of Graveyard Hate. We have Pack Rat to win if our opponent does have Graveyard Hate. Shriek Maw to deal with creatures like Scavenging Ooze, for example, that can ruin our graveyard plan. Dark Blast, a little more dredging. Gnaw to the Bone, good against aggro. Fairy, a bit of Graveyard Hate that works with our plan, but we're not really built to fight against what our opponent's doing. We're just hoping to Goldfish for a win, and while we can be fast enough to do that in some matchups, if the matchup is fast and our opponent's deck is fast, we're going to have a hard time goldfishing fast enough, because I think we're looking at winning like turn 5 maybe if things go well, or sometimes even slower than that, like turn 6, turn 7. So that's really tough to not interact with a deck like Storm or a deck like Titan Shift and still expect to be alive long enough for Grixis Unearth to work. But overall, good enough to play it in F&M, really fun, probably the coolest Dredge S deck there is in Modern. But as far as just winning a GP, just play normal Dredge, I think, is more competitive as far as being consistent, beating all the different decks in the format, and being able to actually, like, go 12-3 or whatever in top 8 of GPs. So, anyway, that's been our Much Abrew for this week. Grixis Unearth for Modern. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.